All right, guys. Well, welcome to tonight's 2021B Elite Racing League Championship award show. Nothing flashy. It's really just we have a pretty long off season this year, so I figured it'd be cool to get our champions on here and kind of just talk a little bit about this season and what's going to happen moving forward. All three of our champions have a lot going on for next season, and I'm looking forward to talking to these guys and really getting the ball rolling for that. So let's get Bronson in here. I'll move him on over. All right, Bronson, how are you, man? Bronson, you got a copy?
Yeah. Can you hear
Awesome.
me?
All right, so this is really not formal at all, I promise you. So this is kind of just a casual conversation. I just want to talk about your season a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about next season, especially because you guys, especially your team, Sky Motorsports, is making the jump up to the Cup Series. So um, obviously 2021B was your rookie season in Elite. um, Now, do you broadcast with FRN?
Uh, Occasionally, here and there, but very rarely. I'm more of
Okay. Yeah, so
just kind of there for like racing and whatnot.
that's always been the neat thing with you guys running this year is because FRN and us, we kind of go back. We were one of the first earlier leagues that FRN broadcasted with, and yeah, so that was always neat seeing you guys come over. So first things first, your first season in the trucks. Um, Expectations. What were your expectations coming into the season? Obviously, it's a brand new series, brand new league, brand new everything. What was your expectations just kind of for the season in general?
Season in general definitely was more just try and get up to speed with everyone. I've raced with a couple people from Elite across other leagues, but overall not a whole lot of them. So it was kind of for me, Shane, and Tom was kind of get used to everyone and so where we could compete after Daytona. I think the goal shifted to, all right, we can compete, so let's try and get playoff runs. And really, that was the goal, just get into the playoffs and get We knew we were running to try and get into Cup, so we wanted to get playoffs, go for Cup charters, which we did. Um, so anything after that was just kind of bonus. I never thought to get a championship, let alone in rookie season.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that was impressive with you guys is how competitive all three of you guys are, um, and seeing you three make the jump to Cup next season is going to be really exciting. I think for the Cup Series, and then obviously for you guys as well, it's going to be really competitive. Um, so obviously you had a really good regular season, really good chase, um, but winning your first race this season, the championship race, um, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there that night, but I was watching the broadcast, and it really looked like you had a pretty good grasp on the race there at the end. Um, can you just talk a little bit about the championship race itself? I actually was fortunate enough to be in the situation where I was running for a championship, and the championship race was at Atlanta, and every lap, like every lap in a championship race, you're literally on alert. You're like freaking out about everything. You're thinking about tires, fuel. In your situation late in the race, you're probably just like, please, no yellow, no yellow, no yellow. What was it like running in a championship race? And then just explain, obviously what it meant to win the championship in the Truck Series.
Yeah. So definitely throughout the race, the biggest goal was Shane and I were going to try and do what we did at Las Vegas. We found out when we got the two of us lined up and didn't try and race each other, you could kind of break away from the rest of the draft. So we tried to get that going, and honestly, I think it worked really well. I mean, the second stage was pretty much Shane and I just going at it, and up until he sped on pit road in the third stage, we were still just him and I kind of going at it. Um, yeah, biggest goal though for the general start of the race until things really settled out to where we'd be running was just kind of take it easy. The start of the race, like in practice, the trucks could be a little loose if you ran too hard on the bottom. So it was, make sure you qualified okay, make sure you avoided people getting loose. But I ended up going basically green the entire race, but outside of stages, which was really, really nice. And then, yeah, like you were saying, definitely after After green flag stops and Shane messed it up, it was definitely just don't throw a yellow. We had no tires left besides like a couple guys that weren't in the championship four, and Rexing had the freshest ones by like 10 laps. So if we got a yellow, I think it was going to be a little bit bad from there. But yeah, it was pretty much just hoping for no yellow. We didn't get it, so we were able to go out, win the race, and win the title with it. And honestly, probably one of the biggest wins I've had in my iRacing career, hands down, just because of the sheer competition level that Elite has compared to other leagues that we've maybe been in, or just across the board in general. Like you come into a new league and new team to the league, rookies in the league in general, and you go out and perform. And I think it sucks Tom didn't make the final four, but I think still the three of us did show that we have the speed, and to be able to get a championship is really really big, especially with a league like Elite. Especially like everything you guys do is so much bigger. Like it's put on big displays and good numbers on broadcasts and stuff like that. So it's a huge deal. It feels great, honestly. Like I still kind of I sit here and I'm like, damn, that actually happened. That's really cool, you know?
Yeah, I think one of the things that you'll see too is um, no matter what, you're always going to be known as a champion when it comes to the Elite Racing League. And I mean, there are guys, and we're going to talk to Tate Lytle here shortly, actually. Tate's been running with us since we've made the change to iRacing, I want to say 2017, 2018. And he's won in every series you can think of. He's been in championship fours. And nothing ever fell his way. And he actually was able to get two championships this season. And it just goes to show how challenging it is. And with the format, with the way the format plays out, you can, I think you can earn yourself a championship race bid by having a good regular season and a good playoff. But the championship race is just it's a completely different ballgame. And that was exciting for you to see you guys win that and for you to win that. And the thing that's interesting about the trucks too is, and we've talked about this a little bit because Alexander Van de Sande, our IndyCar champion, was in your shoes last season, where kind of new to Elite. He's ran the IndyCar stuff, but new to the NASCAR stuff. He ran the trucks, and our truck series is interesting because it's a lot of brand new drivers to Elite. It's also veteran drivers. So Jared Rexing. I would almost throw Thornquist in there as well because he's been with us for a little bit now. But you are running against guys that have been with us for a while, but you're also running against guys that are just trying to maybe new to iRacing. And to see that you guys, like I said, to see you win the championship and then make this to jump the cup is really neat from a league owner's perspective, but it's also neat just from a perspective of whatever we're doing with the truck seems to be working because it's propelling guys to the Cup Series. So, um, yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, that was really exciting season. I think the trucks in general um, put on probably our best racing across the board this season. I thought it was really interesting. Um, do you have any sponsors? Anybody you want to thank before we sign off with you here tonight? Not supposed to be a huge long interview tonight. Just try to give you a moment to talk a little bit about the season.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I take the chance to shout out Flat Out Racing Network. Obviously, we don't broadcast Elite anymore, but they've done a lot for us behind the scenes. I mean, they funded us into the series and got a decent little return with going out, getting the title, and going to Cup and stuff. Obviously, Evil Controller, Sim Speed Shop. We got G Fuel. We got Thompson Caterpillar, Steak and Shake. All those guys. We got a lot of people on the cars that make all this stuff happen, and it's going to be really cool to see them next season. Really, really happy, really proud of the entire Sky Motorsports team. We were on a little hiatus for about a year. We came back. We decided we are going to go run leagues that wanted to challenge a bit harder, and we did so with Elite. We went out there. Excited to get the cup next season with them and pick up Nick Massey. He's a longtime friend. He's actually part of the reason we joined Elite because we missed running with Nick and Josh and Jacob and all them guys. We raced with them a
Yeah,
long time ago.
thanks for taking Nick away from my team. By the way, appreciate that. No,
Yeah,
it's
I
fun.
remember he told us he was on your team, and I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be a little awkward, ain't it?"
No, I
We
honestly, so
raced with
so it's
them
funny.
since like 2014 when
Yeah,
Upridge came over to iRacing. So like we've all raced together for a long time.
no, it's funny because I mean, I actually gave up running a team next season because I was just like, it's just too much. and I'm all about guys running on teams where they're going to have fun during races. So I think that's going to be awesome for Nick. And honestly, that creates just another powerhouse team in our Cup Series. So I think that's awesome. So, well,
Yeah,
congratulations,
that'll be
Bronson,
fun.
and hopefully we'll see you here in a couple weeks. Our Clash is coming up on January 26th. The Lynch Creative Design Clash at Martinsville, the super late models. So hopefully we see you come out for that one.
I didn't even know I was eligible. I'll have to look at that.
Well, I got to check too. I think did you win any polls this season?
I don't think so. I
You
was
did
an
not.
underdog in
So you
trucks. No, I was an underdog in trucks. I don't think anyone pegged me for a
there you
championship
go.
run.
Yeah. So you'll have to run the open into the Clash, which is going to
Okay.
be, I'm sure, thrilling with the super late models at
I haven't
Martinsville.
ran the
But
super late model in
um,
years. Oh boy. We'll see.
yeah. So our Clash is polls only. So it's polls only, but it's all four of our major racing series, and obviously I think we're going to add Formula One next season to that. So hopefully we'll catch you coming out that night.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, Chad.
All right. Well, have a good New Year, Bronson. Yep. See you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Well, that's Bronson Stafford. I want to give a shout out to Old Testament Firearms. They sponsored the truck series this past year, and Dixon's Barbecue is coming on board with Tyler Dixon for 2022. We'll try to get him on here on one of these Thursday shows we'll be doing before the season starts off. But shout out to Old Testament. Shout out to C2 Freight, Blue Egg Marketing, and Response Energy, our premier partners. So yeah, obviously, again, I'm kind of talking to myself now. Hank Steinmiller, if you want to come on here. The truck series has been really interesting. Um, Seeing guys propel up into the Cup Series, um, and seeing guys make that step. Our next guy that we're going to talk to, Alexander Van Desant, he started with us in the IndyCar stuff. Very successful. Had a really good truck series season last season. I'm going to move Hank on over. Where's Hank at? There's Hank. So as I was saying, Hank Steinmiller is now with us. Hank, did you win what? You won the Southern 500 in 2021A, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there you go. So Hank Steinmiller, former elite Southern 500 winner. So as I was saying, Alexander Van Desant um, made the Final Four in the Truck Series last season. Actually, we could probably throw him in here because you and Alex had a fun championship race last season.
Yeah, more fun than I did.
Yeah. All right, Alex, you there?
I am.
So I was giving a little bit of intro with you about how you made the step from the trucks to Cup this year, and the championship race, and Hank Steinmiller's with us. So you guys had a fun, eventful final lap at Iowa Speedway last season.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So obviously having Alex in here now. So Alex he's been with the IndyCar. He's ran our at Mega Driver 86 IndyCar series for a couple seasons now. Obviously, like I said, he made the jump from trucks to Cup, made the Final Four in the Cup series. Unfortunately, he'll be part-time because he's now going to be running in Lionheart IndyCar on Wednesdays, which is really just an honor for us to have somebody in that series. That's a really high caliber series on Wednesdays. But this season, Alex, what you were able to do on the IndyCar side this season was really mind blowing. Actually, I mean, Henry Bennett last season dominated the championship. He won last season's championship by 116 points. This season, he earned more points, had a better average finish, and it wasn't enough to win the championship just because of the season you had. What changed from 2021A to B, as far as you're concerned, as far as how you approach the season? I mean, we look at your numbers for this particular season. So you had 10 starts, you won half the races, you had 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and your average finish was 4.6. So, what was different this season versus maybe the last couple seasons?
Yeah, I think I've just been able to execute the races better and put a good result together from start to finish. Qualifying was definitely weaker. I've had a lot of mistakes in that, but I've been less bogged down in the mid pack. Just getting passes more often, cleaner. better wreck avoidance. So like just putting all that together, I was able to consistently get up to the front in all these races, and that's where you need to be to be able to get a win right at the end or have a shot at it. So and then just better pace with the new tire models and stuff. I've gotten much better with tire saving, so and that's helped a lot. I don't think we had a fuel save. Well, we had a fuel save race at Gateway, but that for the most part, it just knowing how to put together a strategy as well. I've just kind of been steadily improving in all areas all year, and then finally put it together in the second half.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that like I said, that was interesting was when you get guys that are fighting for a championship. It's amazing how they can take what they're doing as a driver and up it to a whole nother level. I always you see that a lot with our chase format on our NASCAR stuff where you get into a rhythm and guys are just almost unbeatable. I mean, they're either winning races or running for top fives. And you look at like I said, you look at the numbers in the IndyCar side of things. I mean, you started off the year obviously really well, but I mean, it seemed like you were able to just go to another level as the season went on. The first things first is we look at the IndyCar series as a whole. It's 10 races, 7 ovals, 3 road courses. It's full distance, so that's the interesting thing about full distance. The full distance aspect is you really have to look at the big picture of a race. You can't really just look at a 150 mile or 200 mile race. You have to look at it from a big picture. I mean, for you to be inside the top 10 in 9 of those 10 races is pretty remarkable. What does it come to? Do you think speed is more important than consistency, or do you think the consistency outweighs the speed when you're running full distance races?
No, you definitely want more consistency and just stamina in general. Like Laguna Seca was like I didn't have a great result there, but it was one of the most difficult races I have ever run. Just by the end of it, I was completely exhausted. The race felt like it was going on forever, and I was fighting people all the way through it. Like I did not have a chance to rest. So that was definitely the hardest this season. But just with how long these races are, the strategy is constantly changing, especially on the ovals. If you have like a lot of cautions or like just depending on how they fall, like it can completely change the race. And you saw that at Gateway, especially Michigan as well. I think had a lot of changes. So just knowing like being like it's not just driving and the mental strain that comes with that. It's also thinking about the strategy and like should you pit now or like if a caution came out now, like what would I do, and trying to figure that out and keep all that in mind. But then when you have a fuel save race, keeping in mind the numbers, it takes a mental and really a physical toll. I'm sitting here in a seat, but like I've got a 20 Newton meter direct drive wheel here, so like it's some work, and just gotta be able to keep up everything throughout the whole race.
Yeah, that's something I would mention a lot of is just the consistency aspect of it. The fuel strategy wasn't really a big part of the season. I think when you look at the way the races played out, we had our highest green flag average, I think, in all the seasons we've done. I think we were around 92%. But it seemed like all the yellows always fell at a certain part of the race. Personally, it screwed me a lot of times. Because when you look at races earlier, like a couple seasons ago, or even last season, right? For you to jump guys, I don't think this tire, the short oval package, I don't think any of it is undrivable or unpassable. I noticed there were times where I would get shuffled to the back. I was able to work my way right to the front over a course of a 20, 30 lap run. But when you have guys like yourself, Henry Bennett, Adriano, Victor, guys that are running almost identical lap times every lap, that's when it gets really difficult to pass. So you have to try different strategy plays. And this season especially, it really seemed like if the guys that stayed out were able to benefit from that, and you were yourself included. Now, the one thing I do want to mention is, so we do have 3 road courses, and um, just to talk about how difficult the road course racing is in our series right now. Um, our series started out as an ovals only, then we kind of slowly added road courses. In just the last 2 or 3 weeks, me just running official races, I've realized how difficult the IndyCar road course stuff is that we have. We're doing full distance races. You have to manage tires. You got to figure out when you're pitting. Um, talk about that for a second, because I feel like the road courses are the hardest aspect of what we're doing, just because of how high. I mean, you look at the ovals, there's probably maybe 10 to 15 guys that could win. You look at the road courses, realistically, there's maybe 3 to 4, and yourself included is in that mix. So you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
What aspect of our schedule do you think is the hardest part of it? Is it those road course races? Because for me,
Yeah.
that's what appeared.
Yeah, I think it's the road courses. And I'm not to say that oval's easy. It's absolutely difficult. But with road, uh, you have, like, on an oval you have 4 corners, but on a road course you have 10 different corners. All of them are completely unique. There's nothing like them anywhere at any other track, and just having to hit everyone almost perfect every single lap for still, more than 80 laps is just a huge mental toll. And also you just don't get a break on them. Like, you'll have maybe 2 or 3 pit stops. Actually, we had more like 4 in a lot of our races with these distances, but you only have, like, that's barely a break. You don't have cautions usually. I think we had one at Detroit, but for the most part, you're just going flat out the whole time, and there's no fuel. Well, yeah, there's usually not much fuel saving either on them with how we've had our race distances. So you don't even get that kind of relaxation either. It's just you have to go flat out, and then at the same time taking care of your tires and managing risk and all that. But it's really is a marathon. With the ovals, you get the breaks with the cautions, and usually, and it's you can really get into a more consistent rhythm on ovals. But with road, it's just a much longer tracks, and that's all it comes down to.
So looking ahead, obviously you'll be back full time in IndyCar, but you're also adding the Elite Formula One Championship presented by Shane Demontova Designs. When looking at the IndyCar schedule, first off, are there anything that stand? I don't even know if you know the IndyCar schedule off the top of your head.
Oh, I've got it pulled up.
Is there any particular? Yeah. So are there any tracks particularly that you're looking at that kind of stand out to you for next season? I know as a series we haven't visited Kansas yet. We have not gone to. That would be the only track we haven't gone to. But with Indy GP also being a new, hopefully a scan version. I mean, is there any tracks next season that you really like to circle on the calendar?
Definitely Iowa towards the end of the season. That's absolutely one of my favorite tracks for this car. I know I'm really strong there too, so definitely have my eye on that. Auto Club as well. That's where I made my Lionheart debut this year, and went from, I think, 33rd to 3rd at the end. So that was huge. I know I'm really strong at those kinds of tracks. I mean, you saw the finish at Michigan. I beat Henry by less than a tenth, or less than 100th, I think, if I'm remembering right. And then also the road courses.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was really close. And then also the road courses. I know I'm solid on road. I can get top 5s, but I still need to step it up to another level, and be able to get better consistency, especially earlier in the races or at the start of runs. But I know it's still valuable points overall for them.
Yeah, that's what's interesting too, is when I look at the schedule. For me, when I look at the short ovals, I feel like that's my strongest as a driver. So I circle those as like, okay, these are the races I have to maximize, because on the road courses, I know I'm going to struggle to maybe run 5th or 6th. So that's what's interesting is where you can look at those road courses and those super speedways as, okay, these are the races I circle because I have to maximize these. Although obviously the short ovals you're not a layover either. So now before we let you go, because you're going to be competing Formula One, I believe full time, if not part time. Based on my experiences with the Formula One car, I don't think overall speed is going to be what's going to win you a championship or Grand Prix. I think it's going to be coming down to how you manage tires and how you manage the tire strategy. Um, what do you expect for Formula One next season? I mean, that we do have a lot of transfer over from our IndyCar side, but we have a lot of brand new drivers to Elite, and we have a lot of our NASCAR guys that are going to try to step into the Formula One car. So, what do you expect from that? Is it too early to really predict still? I mean, where's your head at going into our inaugural season for Formula One?
Yeah, I think the first few races are going to be pretty wild. But then after 4 or 5, it should start to calm down and people should get more used to the car, I think. I know from what I've driven, and I still need to do more practice before the season starts, but from what I've driven, it's easy to drive and keep it on the track and put down some mostly consistent times, but finding the absolute edge and pushing that car to get that extra second or half a second or anything like that, it's just a lot more, and I haven't found that yet. Also, like you mentioned, the strategy and the tire management is going to be huge because you have a full tank to go to the end of the race. So identify, like you're kind of like with the IndyCar, you can go so many laps before you're going to have to pit, and that kind of like constricts the strategy. But with F1, it's wide open. You can do pretty much anything, and so it makes it more difficult to make those decisions about when to pit. So that's going to be a really big, really interesting part of these races.
Awesome. Well, anyway, Hank, do you have anything you want to throw in? Obviously, I don't think you raced with Alex much this season. But any comments on 2021A you want to throw at him?
Not really, other than I have absolutely no idea what went on in the Indy series, but I assume you can change all 4 tires, right, Alex?
Yes,
In
you can.
IndyCar? All right. Alex had that truck title wrapped up, and then that
Yeah.
not to rub salt in the wind, but the 4
No.
tires.
Hopefully, I'm planning on
Well,
doing trucks as well for next season.
There you
I'll
go.
probably have to miss several races, so I don't know if I have a shot at the championship. I need to figure that out, but hopefully I won't make a
The
mistake like
rules
that
are up
again.
in the Discord now, so you can see if you will make it. Right, Chad?
yeah, they are. They're in each series
There we go.
category now.
Yeah, I'll double check.
No, I have no idea what went on
Awesome.
in the Indy series, but F1, I also think a big thing's going to be just keeping your car going straight on the track.
Yeah, traffic's going to be big. I mean, there's a lot of solid drivers there, but there's going to be people with not as much road experience. Nothing wrong with that, but the field spread's going to be pretty big, especially towards the end of the race. So just keep making your way through traffic and keeping it clean as you're lapping people will be tough.
Yeah, the lap cars, I
Well, that's
think
the thing
that's
too
going
that
to
I
be
thought
the
was
big thing.
interesting. That's what I thought was interesting was with the tire management. Now I've been able to work on it, but you run. I mean, like for example at Spa in our testing last week, after about 13, 14 laps, even with the hards, you notice you start to like the wheels, like the car wants to snap a little bit on you. When you think of a Formula One car, you think of the car being planted the whole time, and it is planted, but the tires make it where it doesn't want to be planted, and that was something that I think a lot of guys are going to struggle with, and the power off the corners is another thing that completely shocked me. I didn't even realize. Um, you get it with the Indy car a little bit. Obviously, you get it with stock cars, but again, with the Formula One car, you'd really expect it to be planted. But with the ERS, those rear tires are spinning like crazy. And that's the other thing too. I think that's going to be a big learning curve for guys to learn how to do that because I mean the power sneaks up on you in the Formula One car.
Absolutely. And then once you figure that out, you start to limit yourself with the front tires, like pushing it too hard. And so then the next step is finding the right slip angle through the corner. And, there's always stuff that you can improve on with cars like these.
All right, Alex, I'm gonna let you go. Hope you have a good New Year, and we'll be back racing shortly.
Yeah, thank you guys, and yeah, Happy New Year.
All right. Well, let's get Tate Lytle in here.
Let's get him in here. I got some questions for that fella.
Mr. Tate Lytle, how are you, sir?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, sir. So before Hank starts asking you questions here, because we know that he's going to have some really awesome questions for you.
Okay.
I was talking to Bronson about how it was his first elite season and he won a championship, and how hard it is to win championships, especially with the chase formats and all that fun stuff. And I brought you up because you've been with us since we started, and you were always a guy where like, oh, Tate Lytle, which championship did he win? When did he win one? And it was always, well, he hasn't. And this season, you not only won one, but you won two. My first question would be, when you look at the Xfinity and the Cup Series championships, which championship meant more? Was it the Xfinity because it was the first one, or was it Cup just because of Cup being our premier series? I mean, I don't even know if by Wednesday you were, realizing, oh crap, I won a championship on Monday, and then you won again on Wednesday. So, which one would you say would kind of drew the most emotion out of you?
I don't know, probably Xfinity, just because of how tough those cars are, and then how much harder you have to drive those cars, especially at a place like Phoenix, and to go out there and put on the show that we did meant a lot to me. And I mean, Homestead in most cars would be fine, but with those next gen cars, I mean, you guys know it's kind of a crapshoot week in, week out. I mean, same guys will be fast normally, but just depends on which ones get taken out, kind of to see who is going to have a chance coming down to the end of it.
So the thing with the Xfinity side of things that was always interesting to me was, you at some point in the regular season you weren't even eligible based on your points because you just had awful luck. And then even in the chase you weren't like at 100%. But where obviously when we look at the championship race, we always look at guys, and even in real life, like the fluke guys that came out of nowhere and won in the last couple laps, and he's the champion. But the way that race played out, I don't think anybody can question that you weren't a deserving champion just based off of that performance. How important was it to you to just go out and dominate like that? I mean, you look at our championship 4 across the board in every series has always been really good. But I mean, you were going against Fody, you're going against Hogan, and you're going against Ethan, arguably 3 of the best in Elite. I mean, some of the best sim racers in general. And then not to throw it all off, you get a green white checkered, and you're lined up second, third, and fourth behind you. I mean, what was that like? First off, because I was about 10, 15 spots behind you, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how Tate can, like, I don't know, I would probably miss a shift on the restart. I mean, what was it like, first off, to have that kind of a race, and then all of it goes out the window with a green white checkered?
I mean, it was kind of frustrating when we got the green white checker, but I knew that at least the first guy behind me would race me really clean. Garrison, he's a teammate, and I was actually going to probably end up driving part-time in that Xfinity series to begin with, so he was actually driving my car. And yeah, it was kind of ironic that my first championship came in a car that wasn't even a 56 car, because that's really all I've driven since I got back into sim racing back in like 2017, probably. I don't know, whenever we started running 3 wide together.
You run 3 wide together.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Not for long.
Yeah, well, typically it ends up with somebody backing out. So I mean, like I said, I look at your final round. You were second, and then first. And we were talking about how guys turn it up at the right times. That was obviously something that was important for you to be able to do that. Now, to flip side that, you look at the cup stuff. First off, Hank, do you have any questions you want to ask him on the Xfinity end?
Yeah, I want to know how many practice laps he ran at Phoenix for the race.
I probably ran like
600.
20 by myself and like a practice test session, just kind of feel it out. And then me and Ethan and kind of our team guys the night before probably ran. I bet I ran 120 that night, goofing off.
You guys ran the same lobby?
Yeah, I put up like a hosted session, and our little group of guys kind of
You were able
went
to
in
get
there.
you were able to get all your teammates in one session?
Not all of them.
17. Yes, Chad, all 17.
I bet we had.
Well, you can only fit 62 in a lobby, but there's only 43 pit spots. So
Hey, you guys keep talking all you want. You guys, I just set up.
So how?
I'll send you a Snapchat, Chad.
Chad's new to this because if he did it with Rucker, neither of them would make a lap.
I just set up my my triple monitors that I bought with my elite winnings. I'll send a little video in the chat. This is as far as I've
Nice.
gotten, and I don't really know where to go from here. But they're up, and about halfway through the day, I didn't think that was going to be a possibility. So
Are you gonna
I
have
will
him up
say-
by Daytona?
No, yeah, that's the most. Well, Formula One, he's signed up for F1.
Oh,
yeah,
You'll figure it
Formula
out. I will say, since I upgraded to an ultra wide monitor, it's amazing how different iRacing is in a good way. You realize so many different things you didn't see before. So
Yeah,
how
I'm
much
excited
were
to-
you Garrison? How much did you, Garrison, and Ethan actually work together in the championship race alone? Like, were you guys still going to just go at it as teammates and work together, or was it really everybody kind of just do your own thing and just not kill each other?
I don't think there was any working together until like that first or second restart. I probably counted them down just to give them a little jump on the rest of the field. But those last few, heck no, I wasn't giving anyone no countdowns. I don't think other than that there was any team play other than on that last lap, Garrison kind of threw it underneath Fody to kind of prevent him from throwing another. We just call them Fodies
Snow
now
plow.
after what happened. Another Fody, and yeah, I think that was the only time that really we were playing for each other's motives. We were pretty selfish for the most part. I know when me and Garrison were running, when we were running for the lead there with 25 to go. I don't think we said much of a word to each other other than whether the lap cars screwed me or him more than the other. But it's not like we were working together a ton. We definitely, we practiced together. We kind of gave each other maybe a few tips beforehand, just kind of how to get into the corner, how far to cut the dog leg or whatever it may be. But there wasn't too much team play going on.
Do you think cutting the dog leg?
So
was worth it?
What are you saying, Hank?
Did you think cutting the dog leg was worth it?
Not a ton. I'd cut down
Okay.
like that white line. It wasn't a ton.
Just curious, out of all of your practicing there, if the risk was worth the reward.
No, not really. What were you gonna say, Chadrick?
So when we look at my last question for the Xfinity side, so we're looking towards next season. Nothing really new stands out. We running Kentucky, which we've never ran before in the Xfinity series. Where we return to Martinsville. We're back at Chicagoland. We're adding the Indy Road course. Hopefully, the Indy Road course, so we get that rescan up. We close the regular season out at IRP. And then really the chase is pretty straight up. The only funky track is Coda. Obviously, when we look at that schedule, there's a lot of craziness in there. You got, like I said, you got IRP, you got the Indy Road course, you got Martinsville. anything on that kind of sticks out to you for next year, or do you kind of just roll into it every Monday and start practicing at 7:30 or 6:30 when the practice goes up?
Well, this next season for Xfinity, I won't be running. I'll probably run the first 4 races, and then I'm the golf coach for the golf team in my hometown, and I'm in Oregon, so we're on Pacific time. So by the time we get done with practice, you guys will probably already be almost done with the race. So won't be much Xfinity. I'm gonna try and weasel my way into running most of the Cup races, but the A seasons from here on out might be kind of tough for me. The B seasons, I'll be pretty well set though.
So with that,
Well, you do become. Sorry, Hank. I was just going to throw one
Go
more
ahead.
out. You do actually become. This is not really a question. It's more of a statement. You are now one of, let's see here, 2 drivers that can win the Triple Crown with Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. So that's something also
I
to
can't.
throw at you at some point.
I'm not even eligible for trucks now, am I?
Well, you know, you're still eligible for trucks. It's only truck champions because we wanted to make it where if somebody wanted to win all 3, they can. So
No.
it's because you've won Xfinity and Cup. Now I don't know if you'll be able to sign up this season, but that's also something to throw out there. So Hank, did you have anything to add for Xfinity?
yeah, I was gonna say I think with Tate not being able to run the full Xfinity schedule, we should just make the announcement now that there is a doubleheader between Michigan and Martinsville, it looks like, on your schedule, unless that is a typo. You have March 7th
It's
on
a
both of
typo.
those. Okay. I thought we were doing a doubleheader of
What's
Michigan and
what
Martinsville.
what what are you looking at here?
He
The
doesn't know.
Xfinity schedule.
I don't know what Xfinity schedule you're looking at. Are you looking at Dan
Sim
Lisa?
Racer Hub. Yeah.
Let me look at it. Yeah, it's not. That's not.
Anyway,
It's not real.
Tate. Xfinity wise. Did you run every race this year? I didn't even look
I think
at
I
that.
did.
You did.
I think so. I think I was able to make all of them. There's a couple close calls in there, but
All right. The last 3 races before the title race, you were what? Second.
yeah.
What changed?
I mean, it was kind of a mix of good tracks, and I was probably putting a little more effort into it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I was more, you had more time at that point, if it was the tracks, because I know the 2021 A season for the truck playoff, those 4 tracks were right up my alley. So I didn't know if those last 3 were good tracks for you, if you had better qualifying, more time, whatever it may be.
No, I mean, Auto Club is probably the only track where I feel like I could go run top 2 or 3 no matter what. And I knew that Fody was gonna be my competition there, him and Ethan, and that served pretty true. Same thing with Atlanta, Fody, Ethan, and I felt like we're kind of the class of the field. You and Garrison were pretty good there on that first run, but once we got toward the end, it was kind of the 3 of us. And Fody, he's hard to outsave.
Yeah.
You know, he's I feel like I can save pretty equal with him, but if he gets ahead of me, I mean, it's
Hard to pass.
I'm not gonna be able to pass him without, putting myself in more trouble. So he's hard, and especially in those Xfinity cars. I mean, I think he's pretty well the goat of Xfinity.
Let's be easy now. I don't
Well,
want to be dubbing anyone the GOAT, but
his average finish is like 5.6 over 4 seasons. So
yeah,
I'd say that's
grip hacks help. But if you get into that point, just lean on him. He gives up track pretty easy if you start putting a door to him. He just likes to give you the bumper, or give people the bumper. You lean on him a little bit, he'll move out of your way. He doesn't want to wreck.
I don't know if Fody's ever gave me the bumper. I gave him the bumper a couple times. Some
He
of them
probably deserved it.
not on purpose. I accidentally gave him the bumper in that championship race in Cup.
No, he does save much better than anyone else. But I don't know what that is. I don't know if I don't know. I can save tires to an extent, but I can't keep it as long. I know you did well at Atlanta. I think you ran me down after about 25 laps. Auto Club, you guys had it too. So tire saving, do you think that's your better tracks is where you have to tire save, or where you can kind of run it harder?
I mean, I feel like tire safe tracks are definitely my better tracks, but that doesn't mean anything if we don't get long runs. So
Fair.
kind
They're
of got to
also all
get the
kind of
long runs as well.
yeah, they're also all kind of tire safe tracks.
I mean, to an extent. I mean, at Phoenix, I mean, I felt like if I was out in the lead, as long as I saved a little bit, it was gonna be really hard for someone to pass me. Um, I knew Garrison had kind of outsaved me there, and I knew if I just kept doing what I was doing and not let him get a huge run on me, it was gonna be really hard for him to get beside me and at the same time be able to keep his tires on him. And he was kind of what happened toward the end of that run. He kind of burned it up trying to get alongside me, and I just kept kind of doing what I was doing and was able to outsave him still. But I still think Garrison, if he would have been out front, it would have been a totally different story. But qualifying on the pole really helped me in that Xfinity race.
With your practice there, did you guys run enough to tell, like, could you guys have a good idea of who was the fastest one between the three of you? Or
I
did
mean,
you think it was up for grabs going in there, I guess?
I felt pretty confident that I was going to be. I felt pretty confident it was kind of come down between me and Garrison, at least out of our group. Um, I felt like I was able to get to a lead on him in our practice and then kind of maintain.
Mhm.
But we only did probably 25, 30 lap runs. It wasn't like we did one of those. I mean, that last run before that green white checkered had to have been 60 laps. So it's a
Yeah.
totally different ball game. And with Garrison, I never really know when he's just flubbing me.
Mhm.
Like I feel like sometimes he'll. I don't really think either of us play too much mind games, but I think both of us think that the other one plays mind games. So that's kind of kind of where I was at there. I wasn't sure if he was actually putting his 100% in there.
That kind of concerned me when I thought he didn't qualify to start the race. I think he started back there in 20 something with me.
I
But
think he just waited too long, and
yeah, he said he waited too long.
had he not waited too long, he probably would have been on pole. So
Do you think that's a difference then? If he's on pole, he stays there. Or do you think you get by him, and that track position was what mattered?
I mean, if he had pole, I was gonna have to pass him on pit road, I think.
Now, would you have taken 2 tires for that? Do you think 2 tires would have held up in any circumstance on that green white checker?
I mean, if I would have been Ethan, for sure would have taken 2 tires, just because I would have taken 2 and probably not filled it all the way. I didn't fill it all the way anyway with 4 tires because it was kind of loose on that first lap of a run.
Yeah. I had all of you guys right where I wanted you. I took 2 tires and the jack dropped, and I took full fuel.
Well, I'm glad that you made that mistake, because that would have made my life a lot harder trying to not have control of the restart. So I appreciate you taking full fuel.
Let's transition over to Cup side, because my wife's giving me a look like I need to get off my computer and stop talking about fake race cars.
Listen, it's a sim, Chad.
So on the Cup side of things, I know she doesn't understand that. Obviously the Cup side of things, again, that was probably one of the more dominant Cup Series seasons. I mean, we had, I think, 10 or 9 winners after 9 races or something like that, but for the most part, I mean, the championship, the top guy in the championship was never really in doubt, I think, for the most part, especially through the chase, and then obviously in the championship race, everything else kind of went out the window. What was it about obviously the big move this season was moving to the next gen. Obviously there were guys that were not happy about that. There were some that didn't really care, some that thought it was fun, some guys that were kind of up in arms about it. I always thought this year the guys that didn't complain about it had better success. I don't know if it was because of the fact that they were having success, so they didn't mind it, or they looked at it as like, it's not changing, so I might as well get really good at this car. What was the mindset you had with the next gen this last season? Because it was definitely different than past seasons in Cup.
I mean, it was just a different form of racing. I mean, I can't say I was one of the biggest fans of the car, and I definitely probably let my
There you
teammates
go.
know about it a couple times. But
Let it out, buddy. This is a safe place.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I still feel like I was racing the same people. It's not like it, really muffled the top guys and added some juice to the guys at the back. I still feel like I was racing the same people. We might have been a little closer, and it might have been a little tougher to get away. Um, and I felt like my 3 wins that I did have didn't necessarily deserve them. And then I probably had 3 or 4 that I felt like I deserved that I wasn't able to get. So it's just a different car, and I think you still needed everything that you needed in the other car plus a little bit more luck. Is just kind of how I'll put it.
Did they
Yeah,
make
that would
changes
probably be
to
my
that
best
car?
way.
Sorry, Chad.
All right, one at a
That
time.
would no, that would probably be my best. That would probably be my best explanation of it. It still took something different. It still took the ability to drive the car and understand what you needed to do with it. But I think the luck side definitely played out way different than what expected. Um, the fact that Nashville was a plate race at some one point was kind of surprising to me because I mean you had some serious off throttle time there, but you still grouped back up, which was kind of interesting. Um, what was the? I mean, what was your strongest part this season? I mean, we look at the way the car performed, short track wise, road courses, all of those things. What for you? What was the tracks that you thought you had an advantage at compared to other drivers?
Ooh, I
All
don't
of them.
know. I felt like I was really good at the road courses. There were still 2 or 3 guys that were better than me, but I made fewer mistakes. So I think I was able to finish third and first of the 2 road courses, and then I led a lot of laps at Atlanta. I felt like I was able to outsave those guys on those long runs at Atlanta, and probably had the um, best speed at those tracks, but it didn't really matter on the short runs. Um, I mean, anyone could get a run on anybody, and I felt like there's a few of us that would really put our best foot forward to try to save tires, and a lot of times it just wouldn't really work out, just because of the short runs and you might be trying to save, but that guy behind you is not trying to save at all. So uh, it, they're a weird car. I'm excited for the upgrade and horsepower. Um, so
I was gonna ask that. Did they make any changes during that season at all to the car, or was it pretty status quo from the beginning?
It was pretty
of
much
the
the same
next
thing.
gen, yeah, it was pretty much the same, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive even the tracks that would have been 670 next year, I don't think had that horsepower number. I think it was still like 600 ish.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean it'll be interesting next season to see how the cars react. I think it makes the mile and a half a little bit more intriguing. Next season we run our World 600 next year at Charlotte. Well, 600 miles of what we had at the mile and a half this season. I don't know if guys would be okay with that, but 600 miles of off throttle and you know legitimate off throttle, and I think that's a different story. But um, my last question, and then we'll wrap it up here. Um, Obviously, winning a Cup championship is really important. It's huge. It's our premier series. I mean, as much as I think our IndyCar series is top notch, or all our Xfinity, a Cup championship, I think to me is still the top of what we're trying to accomplish as a league. I mean, if you can win a Cup championship, you've done something in elite. Um, Going into 2022, is it going to be different as a champion, where you're now the one being chased instead of you having to chase that championship?
Mm, I don't know. We all start at 0 at the beginning of the season. It's not like I get a extra points bonus going to the next season. I mean, I might have a little bit more extra confidence just knowing that I can do it, just because I hadn't ever done it until last week. I mean, I've come close a lot of times. Came close in 3 wide back in 2019. Came close in the Xfinity Series. I think it was last 2020B when we did the championship race at Charlotte, and it just never quite worked out. Some things, I could have avoided on my end, and some things I just couldn't have really done a whole lot about. But it's just nice to know that, it's not a driver issue, just more of kind of situational and things you can't really control. So it's just nice to know mentally, for the mental part of, those final restarts coming down to it, knowing that you're the guy. You're not chasing the guy. You are the guy. So I think it kind of gives you an extra bit of confidence to go into those situations and kick ass like you can.
Well, thank you, Tate, for coming on for tonight.
Sorry,
just
I was
wanted to do
late.
a little bit of off-season content. No, you're good. Hopefully, we'll start to really break down the next season here in the next couple weeks or so. I want to thank T2 Freight, Response Energy, Blue Lake Marketing, all our 2021 sponsors, Joining PS, SMRI Productions, at Mega Driver 86 on Twitter, Old Testament Firearms. We welcome Mrs. Goodies on board for the Grand National Series, Dixon's Barbecue for the trucks. Shane Demontova Designs is coming on board for our Formula One series, which we have our third winter test this Sunday at Hockenheim, and then obviously round one for that season is coming up in 2 weeks, so just over 2 weeks. So I want to thank everybody who was involved this season. Hopefully everybody has a great new year. This is going to be our longest off season yet, so I think it's just going to build anticipation for next season. So unless you guys got anything else, that's all I got.
Yeah, no, I mean, just thanks for putting everything together all season, and I mean, it was obviously fun for me in the playoffs, and I always look forward to getting on Monday, Wednesday nights to go hang out with your buddies and do an online race. I've heard people say it before, and I kind of repeat it, but the cars and the tracks, they may be fake, but the racing's very real. So really, really enjoy that.
Agreed. Alrighty, well, thank you to David Huckleberry. He was able to throw this up for me tonight because I wasn't able to get on in enough time to get everything set up. So thank you to Dave. But that's all I got tonight. So hope everybody has a awesome New Year's, and we will